All right, today we are going to crack open a super common automotive puzzle, the P0335 error code. Now, if you've ever had this pop up, or you're just curious about what these cryptic codes actually mean, you're in the right place. We're about to demystify the whole thing, from symptom to solution.
You know the feeling, right? You're just driving along and then, bam, that little yellow light flicks on. It's not just a light, though. Think of it as a message, a signal from your car's brain. And today, we're going to decode one specific message that pops up a lot, especially in Fords.
So let's get our investigation started. Honestly, you can think of this like a detective story. That check engine light, that's our first clue, and it's pointing us towards something very specific happening deep down in the heart of the engine.
Okay, so the code in our case file is P0335. Now, this isn't some vague guess. It points directly to a problem with the crankshaft position sensor's circuit. Basically, this code gets triggered when your car's main computer suddenly stops hearing from this absolutely critical sensor. The signal just goes dead.
And this isn't just some abstract code. You will feel it. When you get a P0335 error, you'll most likely feel a really sudden, pretty dramatic loss of engine power while you're driving. It's not subtle. Trust me, you'll notice.
This brings us to the main character of our story, the crankshaft position sensor, or CKP for short. It's a small, kind of unassuming little part that has a massive, and I mean massive, impact on how your engine performs.
You know, the best way to really get what this thing does is to think of it like this. If your engine is this big, complex orchestra, the CKP sensor is the conductor. It's the one making sure every single part moves in perfect time. Without that conductor, you don't get a symphony of power. You just get a bunch of noise and chaos.
So how does this conducting actually work? Well, the sensor is constantly, and I mean constantly, reading the exact position and the rotational speed of the crankshaft. It's feeding this data, hundreds of times every second, straight to the engine's computer. The computer then uses that info to time the fuel injection and the spark with mind-boggling precision. When that timing is spot on, the engine runs beautifully, but when it's lost, that's when you get the P0335 code.
So, what would cause our conductor to just go silent all of a sudden? Well, more often than not, the problem isn't actually the sensor itself. It's the communication line. It's the wiring that connects it back to the computer.
This here breaks down the most common electrical gremlins. You'll see terms like circuit open or short to ground. You might also spot SIG-RTN. That stands for signal return. It's basically the dedicated path the sensor's signal uses to report back to the computer. Each one of these describes a specific way that signal can get lost or scrambled. It's a total breakdown in communication.
These electrical terms can sound a little confusing, but an analogy makes it way easier. An open circuit? It's like a bridge is out. The electrical signal starts its journey, but it just can't get to where it's going. A short circuit is like the signal takes a wrong turn, an unintended detour, and ends up going somewhere it shouldn't, which messes up the whole system.
So when you get right down to it, the P0335 code means one of three things. Either the sensor isn't getting the power it needs to even turn on, its signal is getting totally garbled because of a wiring issue, or, and this is actually less common, the sensor itself has just failed. No matter which one it is, the engine's computer has simply lost contact with its conductor.
So the big question is, how do we get the orchestra playing again? Well, it all comes down to finding that point of communication breakdown and, you guessed it, restoring the connection.
A good mechanic is going to tackle this systematically. First things first, they'll do a visual inspection of the wiring harness, looking for any obvious damage, stuff like chafing, breaks, or corrosion. Then they'll pull out a multimeter to trace the circuit and pinpoint the exact electrical fault. Once they find the problem, the fix is to simply repair that wire and get the signal flowing clean again.
Okay, let's just step back for a second, because this one little error code actually tells us something much, much bigger about the car you drive every single day. It's really a window into the incredible complexity of modern vehicles.
See, the crankshaft position sensor is just one piece of a huge network. Modern cars basically have a complex electronic nervous system with dozens of sensors monitoring everything from how fast your wheels are spinning to the amount of oxygen in your exhaust. They're all constantly talking to each other and the main computer, making thousands of tiny adjustments every second. It's this invisible conversation that makes your car safer, more efficient, and way more powerful than ever before.
So the next time you turn the key, just remember the CKP sensor is only one of many, many silent conductors working away in the background. It kind of makes you think, right? What other invisible components are firing in perfect sequence, all just to make sure your drive is a smooth one?